Welcome to the Love in Action Podcast, the show that explores all the ways you can evolve into the best version of yourself as a leader. I'm your host, executive coach, speaker, and author, Marcel Schwantes. I believe that when we show up with our full humanity to work and lead from a place of love and care and inclusion, it will make a radical difference in your leadership, your business, and your bottom line. This is a show about love as a leadership and business strategy. Let's do this. So I promised that I would be dropping more content from my first book, which is due out in the winter. It was delayed a bit. Originally, the release date was for the fall of 2024. But, if you've ever written a research-based business book, oh, man, it's a daunting project. And so I needed more time to do it right. So a quick refresher on the premise of the book. If you've joined this podcast recently and you're just learning about my manuscript, I'm writing a book about leading with actionable, practical love. So in this case, love is clearly a verb, not love the emotion. Okay. So in my research, one of the ways to lead with love is by exercising patience. So that's what today's episode is about. It's going to be short and sweet, just enough to give you a sneak preview of my chapter of the book on leading with patience. So patience, it's not exactly a trait that every business leader, naturally possesses or even wants to develop in this winner takes all, foot race to scale the business and take the hill and beat the competition, right? So many of us want quick fixes. I'm not saying all of you, but a lot of us, we can't wait patiently for long-term strategies to bear fruit. We want to see things happen now. We're too focused on the short term, getting results now. Additionally, our fast-paced digital work environment, it doesn't encourage patience. In fact, it prizes hyperspeed instead, right? We're in the age of instant gratification where people are accustomed to have everything they want at their fingertips. So yeah, patience is overlooked and undervalued. The challenge with practicing patience, if you're a leader, is that it's like walking a fine line, right? So not enough patience, and you're seen as the overbearing manager shouting commands at people and raising the stress level in the room. Too much patience, and now you might be the guy or the girl that's seen as a pushover, or someone to be taken advantage of. So you have a mark on your back. So it's a tricky balance, right? Patience also gets a bad rap because the doubters and the skeptics, they tend to think that, if you slow down, the flow of the business slows down. And so many people equate that to mean that patient leaders are passive and unproductive, and they don't act with a sense of urgency. So here's the thing. Being patient may not yield immediate results, okay? But you're going to find that it's crucial for long-term success. So I read a compelling story on Medium the other day to illustrate the virtue of patience. So in Las Vegas, sheriff's deputies once faced a very distressing situation involving a mentally ill woman in her home. So she was known to them and she lived alone. And so when they arrived at the scene and knocked on her door, she comes out with a knife. So in those moments, split-second decisions are crucial for law enforcement. They're trained to understand that even from a distance of 15 feet, a person with a knife can quickly close in for an attack. So if that happens, officers typically reach for their sidearms. So surprisingly, in this scenario, the deputies chose a different approach. They slowed down. So instead of escalating the situation, the officers stepped back, they retreated back to their squad cars, and they opted for de-escalation. The woman was still agitated. She was waving her knife at the door, but she stayed on her porch. So the officers got a specialized mental health negotiator to come out and talk to the woman and, engage her from a distance. The woman eventually went back inside her house, and everyone involved took a collective breath. Whew. So after a few hours, the woman agreed to come out and meet with the mental health negotiator, who calmly talked her down, made her feel heard and seen, and ensured that she would receive the help she needed. Now, this situation could have ended badly, right? Like so many other police shootings that we read about in the news. But the sheriff's deputies in Vegas, they slowed down. They consciously chose patience. And in doing so, they may have saved that woman's life. So hopefully your leadership role or job is way less stressful than what the deputies faced. But the lesson here is that slowing down can help you too in a high pressure situation on the job. So when you're faced with high stakes challenges, critical decisions that need to be made, take a moment to collect your thoughts and reflect on your perspective rather than reacting impulsively. So like the deputies, there are instances when stepping back and assessing the whole situation and then acknowledging our own biases and our own blind spots is really the wisest course. Sometimes we just don't talk enough to enough people to get more information, more insight. So we steamroll ahead with a decision and then we burn bridges in the process. So patience is that superpower that can prevent unnecessary conflicts and lead to more effective solutions. That's all I got today. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Love in Action podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it, subscribe, and leave us a review. Until next time, don't forget, the future of leadership is love in action. Believe it, practice it, and watch your leadership and business flourish.